There's vent holes in the sides that it actually has to draw air in to create the Venturi effect. You have to take these out, make sure they're free of dust and debris, make sure they're cleaned out every day. The latches are adjustable on them, where they latch in. You can adjust them for tension to make sure they're down flat on the pan. Like I said, when you get this, it'll be like that. You guys will take this all apart. On the left-hand side of the machine, there'll be 2 calibration trays. You want to take these calibration trays, they hook in on the bottom here, and that makes the product flow off, come off the back here. The best way to do it when you do your CFRs, the Deere monitor is very, very good at walking you through step by step on how to do the CFR. Your bin level sensors in there, they will all have to show empty before it'll go through that, and the Deere monitor will tell you that. They're adjustable. We'll go through that, how to adjust them. If they need to be adjusted, if you guys get it, that's more on the dealer side. When you do it, we'll have the calibration tray like this on both sides. Put your product in the bed. These are designed to hang a 5-gallon bucket on these hooks. The machine will come with 2 5-gallon buckets, a density scale, and a fish scale to weigh the buckets themselves. If that's the only way you have to do it, it'll work that way, but it'll probably take some more finesse when you get out in the field running it to get it right. The best way to do it is catch 1,000 pounds. That's the best way I've seen to do it. Catch it in a seed tote, catch it in a loader bucket. Usually do bin 1, bin 2, do them both. Get your CFR values, usually 2 or 3 times of catching 1,000 pounds out of the back of it, and they're pretty precise. If you are catching 1,000 pounds, or you're catching a bucket or whatever you have in the bed when you catch it, make sure you throw it back in that bed before you do the next catch. Keep everything in the bed the same weight. Try to do that. Also, when you load these beds, there is a center V inside. You have a left and a right chain, and there's a V on both bins in the top. Make sure when you guys are loading these machines to use them, you're loading it centered. And if you put a small load in it, if you're just finishing up a spot or a little field, load it towards the back of that box in the center. That way it covers your sensors in the bed. Go through that, everything on the back of the machine. Once you do that, you guys should be ready to rock and roll to be able to run the machine. You'll want to run the fan, and it should be set at the dealerships before you get it. Be 51, 52, and 5300 speed settings in that monitor. Unless you guys are running a delicate seed or something that might crack by doing it, keep the fan running at 5300 RPM all the time. Other than that, that fan, everything at 5300, you shouldn't have any problem. Everything on the machine for maintenance, you have a grease bank on both sides. It's labeled on the new machines you guys are going to get. Tells you where everything goes. Upper pivot, bottom pivot, a greaser to each roller on each side, and then your bearings. These pivots, these rollers, they all say every 40 hours. Everything on this outside, these 6 greasers on the outside of both of these banks, and everything on the boom, you need to grease every day. These rollers, you want to grease them to where you see grease coming out the side, and it kind of makes a seal between the side of the roller and the side of the bed. But if you guys grease that up, all it is a stainless steel pipe with a bushing in the end of it that a stainless steel pin goes through. It's got a big hollow cavity in the center of that, around that pin. They need to be filled full of grease. Your dealership should fill that for you before you get it. And it should just take a couple pumps a day to put fresh grease out there. That roller's smooth. If you don't grease it, it locks up and it will drag that chain on the roller, and it creates too much of a bind on the chain and the drive motors, and it'll mess up your application rate. And if, like this roller here, if you let it go long enough, it will actually destroy the chain. So a couple pumps of grease is really preventative from that happening. Gearboxes on the machine, they have a sensor in the top of them on all 4 gearboxes. That is your rate sensor. Cherry sensor is what we call it. That is your rate sensor. That needs to be changed every 250 hours. I tell guys to change it the first 50 hours, drop the oil out of them just for manufacturing process stuff. Take that cherry sensor out of the top of them. There's a little bit of silicone around the edge of that. Clean that silicone off, clean it off the gearbox itself, put a little fresh silicone on it. Fill your gearbox through your top hole where that cherry sensor's at. Wait for the oil to run out the center plug in the gearbox. After it runs out, make sure before you put everything back together or back in that it has stopped running out that center hole. Have a lot of guys that will overfill them and then they'll puke oil out the vent constantly. So just make sure it's level with the bottom of the hole. After you grease them every day. There are 6 zerks on here that are towards the inside of this, and it's labeled again, but them are your bearings for your rollers, bearings for your drives. Them just need to be greased once a week, or the 40 hours that they recommend. 24 model year, they went to a different design on the center. We used to have air boost tubes that came down and they pushed air into the outlets here. This new box design, it's all internal. We are actually stealing a little bit of product. Instead of stealing it down here, they steal it in the actual funnel itself to get the center drop product. So it's just a little crack there on both sides that it pulls that product to get your center drop. And that's new for 24. We make the actual on center drop. So this machine is designed that you could put drop tubes on it and to spread urea and taller product that you're not getting on the top of it. Our drops are also designed when they're on the machine. You can fold the machine up, still use autofold, unfold it with autofold, and the drops will not get into the machine. They will not bind up on the booms. And it's all 33 drops. So you can run all 80 foot with drops on it. Get to the booms. On the booms, on greasing it, there's a pivot pin here on the main that there's 2 zerks on it. And there's a pivot pin on the back that there's 2 zerks on. Each tube on the main boom has 2 outlets on it. You'll have a center outlet that has actually got a splitter inside that sticks in the boom. And when they calibrate them at the factory, or if you ever have to calibrate them out in the field, there's measurements in our PowerPoint that we'll show you with the sheet, Excel sheet, that let you know how much that bends that when you do a catch test and calibrate these. So if you guys ever bend or tear up an outside one, end one, you can just put an end one on it and you're fine. But if you tear up one of the center ones that has the divider on it, you'll have to recalibrate it. And we have end ones on every tube and center one on every tube. Them are all the same until you get into these in here and the center one, then they're different. Go down the boom, you have adjustments for your cradles when it's folded. Unless you hit something with them or whatever, you should never have to adjust them. Just watch the rubber. If the rubber gets beat out, get it replaced. Come to our cylinder, on our fold cylinder, mid-fold here. It's got grease zerks. Every pivot point has a grease zert on it, on this boom. Got a grease zert here and a grease zert in the top of here. And them need to be greased every day. And then there's 2 grease zerks down on the breakaway, tip breakaway also. On our breakaway design, this is designed that if the shear bolt breaks away, it will still fold and unfold, but don't do it other than to get you to get a shear bolt. What happens is we have shoulder bolts here that will actually slide in this slot to let it fold and unfold if that shear bolt's broke, but get that replaced instantly. Don't be folding and unfolding it with that gone. If you fold it and unfold it with that gone, it'll throw the auto fold into limp mode, which we'll go over that a little bit more when we get to it. Boom strut, this is what we call the boom strut. This is adjustable. The only time you should ever have to adjust this is if something happens, this bends. If this bolt bends, we need to get it replaced. Usually the only way they bend is the ground contact. If a guy hits the ground hard enough, it will actually bend this threaded rod. Get it replaced if it does bend. If you put one of them on, when you fold it, the only adjustment that really does is clearing the cradle, the boom cradle, when it comes in for folding. So as long as it's just clearing that cradle, then you're good. Told you about the 2 zerks down here on the breakaway, on the tip breakaway. That's new for 24 also. It was just a pin before. And the spring out here on the tip breakaway, all that spring is there for is it's what pulls it back when it actually breaks away. There is a adjustment up here on the front under the boom ski. This is the latch and this is the tension for the latch. And you guys will probably want to set that to however tight you want it here. If you get too tight with this, the spring won't actually snap it back in. And we got a roller here, nylon roller, that actually encapsulates it when it snaps over. So keep an eye on them if you guys are breaking it away very much. Like I said, that's adjustable with that spring. If you want it to be harder to break away, just tighten that spring down. If you want it looser, loosen it up. We have the same adjustments on the mid breakaway here for latch. You want to set these to where when it unfolds, that it's latching good. If it's not coming over center into the latch, then you've got these too tight and we need to adjust them. And on this boom, there's 2 rubber pucks with washers, and out here on the end, we've got 2 rubber pucks with washers. So that is a maintenance item. Keep an eye on them rubbers. This is just a rubber bumper for that to hit against when it breaks away. And there's just a stack of stainless washers that keep this boom in alignment with that setting. If you notice that your boom tip is moving forward or it's rocking up on the inside of this latch when it comes back around and stays there, that rubber's probably getting mashed out. So it comes with the bolt mounted in it. So just reuse your washers and check your alignment. If you look down, which I don't know if they'll be able to show you on the camera, if you look down, that should all be in a line. All your deflectors should all look like they're in a row going down through there. I recommend also on these deflectors, guys, pretty much everybody hits the end ones and bends them and twists them. Take a black magic marker and mark the edge of this deflector and the crack. That way, if you guys do hit it, all you gotta do is loosen the hose clamps, turn it back to where it was originally set, and you'll be fine. If you damage them or bend them, tear them up, you need to replace them because it'll mess up how the pattern throws off the machine. If you guys do hit ground contact and bend this and have to replace this, you'll have to take this clamshell apart on this block. If you do take that apart, when you put it back together, do not tighten that bolt all the way. That bolt needs to rotate in there. That block has to float. This has to float this way, and this has to float this way on that bolt. If you tighten one of them bolts all the way down, the first time you fold it, it'll snap that off. Our calibration trays on the side of the machine, this is where they are. We can just see on the one side, we have the adjuster here for the short chain, bin 2, and we have the adjuster here for bin 1. When you guys have ran these for a day or so, you'll have to check your chain tensions. Keep an eye on them. On the side of the machine, it's hard to see on these taller machines, but in front of the gearbox, there's holes beside the gearbox. And if you look inside there, there's an eye with a slot at the top and a slot at the bottom of the eye. and that chain needs to run between the slots of that. So if it's getting worn and getting loose, getting worn in, and down below that bottom line, you'll have to adjust your either chain adjuster to get it to where it's up towards the top line. Don't over tighten them and don't run them too loose. Like I said, the first day or so that you run them, you'll have to adjust them. Probably the first week or two that you run it, you'll have to adjust them a couple times. Once they kind of wear in and get set, you'll be able to run it probably most of a season without adjusting them once you get it in there. But keep an eye on that when you guys are cleaning the back off, cleaning the funnels and everything out. It takes 2 seconds to look at that chain tension and see where it's at. We also have grease zerks here. We have 4 zerk bank here, and this greases your 4 front bearings. That's a 40-hour once a week deal too. These are a twin bin machine, bin 1 and bin 2. Of course, bin 1's front, bin 2's in the back, but they're designed, they actually have a center cavity in them. And we've got this adjuster rod on the side where you can push it forward or back. You can either run the bin in 60/40 or you can run it 50/50, depending on how you want to load the machine. And what that does is, depending on where you run it, it dumps that center piece towards the front or towards the back to get your evenness out of the bed. That has got a rubber flap on it for seal. That has to be moved before you put product in the bed. Once you put product on it, you'll never be able to move it. Or if it moves, it'll just bend it and won't do it. That has a rubber flap on it. You keep an eye on that and make sure that it stays good. They will deteriorate over time. Different products will kind of dissolve them, eat them up. So just keep an eye on that when you're doing your regular maintenance on the machine. All of the electronics for the box, for the bed, are right here. You have your John Deere rate controller, and then we have the ICAN module that is actually what controls the fold on the machine. And we'll go through that also. There's 2 fuses in here. The only time, if an error happens with the machine or whatever, is the only time you really have a fuse malfunction, if a sensor fails or something like that. This machine has ICAN autofold on it. You have a lever on the floor. You push that lever down, and then your rotary switch on your control handle. You push up, and it'll fold it up. Push down, and it'll fold it out. So we have sensors on our boom locks. The boom lock button is under the ladder up, I believe. And that button on the new programming with Deere, you push and hold that button, and if something doesn't happen, you don't see the booms unlocking, release it and push and hold again. If you tap it once, it switches the cycle of what it does. This boom lock will extend. You can see it from the cab. That'll extend, pull the lock back, and release it so it'll unfold. If for some reason they get out of sync, sometimes you'll have to lock and unlock it a couple times to get them linked back up. But there's a switch on the actual lock itself on both sides. If for whatever reason you have no boom functions, either that switch is stuck and you need to just go back and flip it a few times, or it's failed, but I've not ever had one fail. If it sees that it's not unlocked, it will not fold or unfold. So keep an eye on that if that has an issue. The auto fold, we have 4 sensors, 2 on each side on the machine. We have 1 at the fold. And you guys as operators should never have to mess with this. This should be a dealer deal. You have a sensor here. And then we have a sensor here, mounted on a stainless plate, that there's an ICAN sensor right there. And them are a degree rotary sensor. The sensor itself is mounted solid, but there is a magnet mounted on the pin that moves, that rotates. so it reads the rotation of that magnet to know where it's at. I said the autofold, if everything's right, you guys get in, unlock your boom locks, push your floor switch down, and hit your auto unfold, and let it unfold completely. Go clear out, totally unfold. They have a safety on them, they call it limp mode. If you guys go halfway in the fold and let off, it'll confuse the system and it'll go into limp mode. To get it out of limp mode, just fold it back up and turn the key off, let it sit, power everything down, turn it on. If it doesn't come out of limp mode, you'll probably have to contact the dealer. You've either got a sensor or a wiring issue. Limp mode is independent, left and right. It doesn't look at the boom as a whole, it looks at the left side and the right side. So if you guys notice that it's folding really, one side's folding really slow, and another sign is when they fold in and come into the cab. If everything's working properly, it should fold all the way into the cab, and then you keep holding the switch and it will actually set itself down in the cradle. You can lock the booms and then go into transport. If you notice it's not going down into the boom locks all the time, boom cradle, then you've probably got an issue with an ICANN sensor or something's going on there. They're pretty robust, but if guys don't maintain it, don't blow the machine off, don't clean it off, they'll start getting a lot of dirt build up between the magnet and the sensor, and it kind of confuses it. So when you guys get these, throw 50-foot air hose and an air wand in there, and you can blow all these dividers off on the back, blow the funnels off on the back, go through all that. There's 3 bin level sensors per bed for your front bed and your back bed. You have 2 up in the center to let you know when the bins are empty. When it sees product in the bed, it will limit your speed, top speed of your machine 5 miles an hour, slower than normal. It's a safety factor they put in there. Them have a little amber LED light in them. If everything is working good, when the machine's empty, that light should not be on. When you put product in the bed and it senses density, a dense product over the top of it, then that little LED light will turn on. When you guys are calibrating these machines, doing your CFR test, catch test, when you put product in the bed, make sure the lights on them come on and they work. They are adjustable. There is a little bitty hole next to the wire that you put an eyeglass screwdriver in, and you can actually tighten that screw or loosen that screw for adjustment. And the dealership, I believe, is going to try to get all them set for you guys before you get it, so it shouldn't be a problem. Said you've got 3 per bin, so you've got on that V in the center of the bed, you've got 1 on the left and 1 on the right. So if you load the bed even, it should come out, everything should work. If you don't load it even, you're gonna have product, so your right chain will run, or left chain, whichever one sees that it's got product when you're in bin chaining, and the other one will shut off. So we need to load them as even as we can when you guys get them out and get them running. Center to the bed as possible. On the front bin, it has windows, so you can look through the back glass of the machine and look in and see the chains, but the back bin, there's no way to be able to look at it. If you guys have to replace one of them sensors, bin level sensors, make sure that the nut on the outside is pretty much flush with the sensor when you stick it through the bed. And when you guys if you have to replace a sensor, that is just a plastic nut and a plastic housing on the sensor. So don't take a big pair of pliers and crank it down, because it'll strip the threads on the nut. So they're just usually a little over finger tight's about all you need to do. If you guys are doing a coated urea, coated product, it's got some stickiness to it, it will actually build up on that sensor. Or if the machine is sat outside sat in the rain, had dust in the bed, you'll have to get inside that bed and wipe them sensors off. There's grates in the top of the bin. Anything that goes through the holes in that grate should go out the back of the machine. So make sure you run it, keep them grates in and run it in. It's a safety factor for you and for the machine. Be careful when you pull them. They have a pull handle on them to lift them up and slide them over and get them out. Be careful when you guys are moving them around. They are pretty sharp. It's just laser cut stainless. There are hats inside the bed on each chain, and they are stair-stepped down through the machine. It is designed to pull the product evenly out of the bed, so you don't have it all pulling it to the back or it wadding up in the front. It'll actually pull it down evenly. But the last hat right before the gate is actually at gate height. It's 2.75 inches from the bottom of the pan to the opening, which is 2 1/4 over the top of the chain. The chain is a 1/2 inch, so if you guys ever measure or ever mess with that, you want to measure 2 1/4 on the top of the chain. And if you do get in the bed cleaning stuff out, don't stomp around on them hats. If you step on them, step off to the edge of them where the mount is. Don't stomp in the middle or down on the slope of it above the chain. And you want to keep an eye on them too as you guys run. I've had them in the past where a bolt will break and that'll come loose and rattle around in there, so you just want to keep an eye on them every once in a while and make sure they're good when you're cleaning it out. Talking about the coated urea stuff, a lot of coated products. If you guys are getting into a real wet product, keep an eye on it. You can possibly plug the boom up if you get too much buildup in it. It'll build up on the funnel and cause issues. But another thing you need to look at is the pan that the chain runs on coming across the bed. Number 1 bin where it goes underneath bin 2. It's just a long pan under there that the chain rides on, carries product. That coated product sometimes will start building up on that pan, and it'll start raising your chain up and keeping it from running true. And if you let it go long enough without cleaning it, it'll actually start closing your gate height off and not dispersing the product properly. So keep cleanliness and maintenance are the main things. One thing I didn't tell you about on the fan, there is a grease zert on the fan, but it gets 1 to 2 pumps of grease every year or every 500 hours. So it's not something easily accessible for a reason. The fans, keep an eye on them. There's a sensor that runs on the center of the fan for your fan speed. If it goes out, it will prevent you from spreading. You'll have to get a hold of the dealership at that point to replace your fan sensor, and do at least an annual inspection on the fan itself for debris, for wear, all that good stuff. These machines, when they're folded up going down the road, the mirrors, trying to see around the booms. I mean, you can see out of the cab and look around them, but the mirror system is, you're seeing a lot of stuff in it. We actually wire the bed for the camera to go on the back side of the left tail light if you guys want to put cameras on them. And then a lot of guys put them in the beds too, at least in bin 2, that way they can see the product. And I believe them will go right to the John Deere monitor, hook right in. Everything on the machine hydraulic wise runs off the central block of the machine. We've just got 4 hoses that run, high pressure line, return, got an LS line and a tank return for the fan. Everything runs from there, follows the path, goes through the fan circuit first. Have a PWM for the fan and a dump coil for the fan. We got a dump coil on there, so if you guys have the fan running 5300 and just shut the fan off, shut the hydraulics off, instead of the fan turning into a pump and tearing stuff up, it opens that and then goes right back to return. All of your metering bin control is all right here under the center, all kept out of the weather, kept away from the product. And then all of our boom fold circuitry, PWMs for that are all on the side of the machine here. When you guys are blowing these off, getting out and blowing them off every day, blow your oil cooler out too.